It's hard to imagine Mano not on NYXL. It's even harder to imagine him not playing his signature Winston. But once you go through the archives, the Excelsior's main tank has a bit of history that is often glossed over. To quickly go over his history, Mano was a flex player before becoming the all-star main tank player we know him as today. With that context in mind, let me take you down a pretty interesting rabbit hole for this week's Alternate Overwatch History. Mano made his debut with Rhino's Gaming Wings back in 2016 and played primarily Zarya, but would feature some Winston on certain maps both as the main tank and as more of a flex tank. However, in practice, his role would be more of a flex tank rather than referring to him as a primary main tank player. Mano then joined Afrika Freaks Blue as the year came to a close and played alongside them at IEM Gyeonggi. There, he again played primarily Zarya. However, a few months later during Apex Season 2, his role changed to primarily playing support. This is where Mano played alongside Amon and traded time on Ana, but was more often seen on Lucio and the occasional Mercy pick. This season would see Afrika struggle to properly facilitate Genji specialist Arhan, which resulted in the general decline of the team. However, this gave way to Mano and Adam's role swap leading into the second phase of group play. Adam would move to main support, filling the Lucio duties, and Mano would wear the mantle of Winston and Reinhardt. Let's assume that change doesn't happen. Let's assume from this point forward, Mano never plays another meaningful game of Reinhardt or Winston for the rest of his foreseeable career. What changes? First, let's address the elephant in the room. Was Mano good? The short answer is yes. The long answer is the success varied on the role. His time playing Zarya was solid.
Kind of messing around effectively in a game there. They're going to come straight through the front door this time around, but look at Mano. He's got Graviton Surge ready and waiting to go. They're going to come around the side. He's in a perfect position to just plonk it down right on their head. He's going to split them up. There's going to be the Graviton Surge, pulls them all in. The wall will hold them at bay, but Adam is swinging for the fences, picks himself up a quick and easy triple, and that is going to be Afrika Freaks defending once again.
Nothing too far in the way of being poor by any stretch of the imagination, but this was during an incredibly chaotic time in Overwatch, quite literally the beginning of competitive play, so things should not be judged too harshly. That said, his Zarya seemed proficient to say the least. The same can be said about his Lucio and his Ana and his support play in general. The large criticism that it faces can be waved off with how invested Afrika Freaks Blue were with Arhan as their sole carry. His dueling style on Genji demanded a ton of attention, and that's where the Afrika supports always caught a bad reputation, where upon reviewing the tape, you can start to see some of their thought processes. We all know how good Mano would become at main tank once he role swapped, peaking with his eventual berth into the Overwatch League, but for the sake of the discussion, let's not dwell on that. Instead, let's move forward into the alternate timeline. It's Apex Season 2. Afrika Freaks Blue know they need to change something up, but in this scenario, moving Mano to main tank against Meta Athena in Apex Season 2 is out of the question. However, with their eventual opponents in the second phase of group play, I don't think anything would have saved them. Here I imagine them trying other players like Jonghyun at main tank, but settling with adding Tyrong back into the roster over Mano to help guide the team around Arhan. It eventually fails, and Afrika Freaks approach Apex Season 3 unsatisfied. Here's where things start to get a little weird. Afrika Freaks Blue cut Mano in favor of adding IDK to the roster and leave Adam as main tank. This significantly weakens them, and Mano reunites with his former team, Rhino's Gaming Wings, as a supportive flex player. There he would share time with Fury on certain flex tanks, but would settle into main support as the season progresses. This divergence doesn't change the fate of Rhino's Gaming Wings. They still place last in their groups and disband shortly after. During his period of free agency heading into Apex Season 4, Mano is now primarily a main support player. One particular team in Apex Season 4 is still going through the motions of moving their highly vocal main support out of the roster due to mechanical issues, and that team is RunAway. To add a piece of context, Mano is a leadership figure on NYXL. He doesn't seem to try to be a leader or even want to be a leader. He even considers himself bad at it, but it comes naturally to him. Put this in contrast to RunAway's plight and you start to see the connections. Mano is a young leader and a main support whose mechanics are above average, and RunAway, on the other hand, are looking to fill Runner's shoes and want to be led from the main support position. I think Mano on RunAway at main support adds a ton of consistency to a roster that already had an embarrassment of riches when it comes to potential. This puts them in serious striking distance when it comes to reviewing an already close Apex Season 4 Grand Final against GC Busan. And that's where I'll leave you. Mano doesn't become the legacy main tank we all know and love. Instead, he joins RunAway as their new main support and reluctant leader. Given these circumstances, I want you to speculate on where NYXL and RunAway would go from here. Do NYXL have a similar dominant regular season in 2018 with their new main tank in the Overwatch League? Is RunAway with Mano over Slime as consistent going into the Contenders era and becoming the Vancouver Titans? Leave your comments down below. I'd love to hear what you guys think. And thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next week for another alternate Overwatch history. Take care.